Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Lee. How are you?
Good. Sarah, you spent a lot of your life in the United States. You, I believe, were born here and raised here and went to school here and worked here. But at the moment, you're living abroad. And
hmm
I know you're back and forth every so often for work on your book, which is coming out soon, Crossing the Line, and for your work on the border. So give us a little perspective, if you can, speaking on behalf of all people who are living abroad, or
hmm
maybe on behalf of, well, what do you observe as someone who's moving back and forth between these two different worlds?
Oh, wow. My When I left the United States to work my way around the world, I I felt like the world was open and available and opportunities existed. I didn't really see borders, right? I know I had a passport and a lucky one, a blue one with gold embossed letters, but it didn't really the world felt open to me. Maybe it was because I was young. Um, I I left. I'd spent 5 years in Latin America, in Central America, then 4 years in China and Hong Kong, and I ended out in Paris, where I brought my daughter up. When we lived in Europe, we traveled country to country to country without passports. And the world, like I said, it just felt like I was brought up with this ethos of diversity is good, and l- learning languages is a plus, and m- discovering other cultures and learning from them will make us all better and stronger. And in the last 10 years, well, really probably since 9/11, but we really have felt the world closing in on us, I think, in this last decade. And it's a scarier place to me now. Maybe it's my age again. When I go back to the United States now, I really don't recognize the place. It was always, there were always issues with guns, for example, and there were, always issues with racism and discrimination. Um, for some reason now, I feel those pressures even more strongly than ever before, and it really it really worries me. It really bothers me. My father, who was the rock of my world, he passed away during the pandemic, and I felt lucky for him because he was he died shortly after Biden's inauguration. We watched the inauguration from his hospital bed, and he felt like, oh, good, we got through the dark times, and we're coming out ahead. And now I'm actually sort of happy he's gone, because I think he'd be destroyed to think that maybe we aren't out of it yet. Then again, we just had a pretty successful midterm, so maybe I'm just being dark. But yeah, I just feel like the world's a little scary.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Lee. I'm sorry to be so dark.